Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for taking the time to be part of this weather community and spread the word about especially this flood potential first and the potential development of Patty, which is now more and more likely. I want to show you the steering conditions and where this area could develop into tropical storm or even potentially Patty. I want to keep everything in good perspective. A lot of uncertainty this time of year. I'll cover it all for you step by step, and thank you for your patience. This video is a little bit longer than I would typically like, but you see here, watching out for that rain that we've had near Costa Rica, Panama, parts of Honduras, Belize. We've had it on and off. A lot of us almost all day yesterday. Some of us not a whole lot though. And then back through Jamaica, we had some rounds of rain and storms for some of us yesterday, and we did have the isolated areas of flooding. So on track, and we're only going to see this rain building. So it's this cluster here. I think we started talking about this about 6, 7, 8 days ago and how the rain would initially build up in the Western Caribbean and Central America. That's now exactly what's happening. And now we're going to see it building further. Even more rain's going to develop and then crossing over toward the Northern Caribbean, stretching even back toward Puerto Rico, the higher chance of rain. And then we're going to look out for the possibility of development as we get deeper into the upcoming week. So plenty going on. Now, where is this area going to go? Well, let's cover that. I know that is kind of the biggest question, and I still have a lot of question marks with that, but I want to show you why. Some forecasts are easier than others, and this is just in the development stages, right? So just kind of trying to find out how the atmosphere is handling everything at this point. Well, all of the models now, or at least the big ones, are seeing development at this point. You can see the American model, which is the GFS, has this area developing into a hurricane. It's been very consistent in that, but it has consistently pushed back the time frame, kind of slowed things up, which also tells me as a forecaster, as a meteorologist, that it's having a little bit trouble trying to figure out this system, and aren't we all? As we get a look at the European model, it has this area becoming either a tropical depression or a tropical storm. The Canadian model now, which did a very good job with kind of finding and seeing that Oscar would develop while the other models didn't, now have this area becoming a hurricane. In the Icon, which is the German model, also has this area becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm. So more and more of the models are latching on to the higher possibility that Patty is going to form. Now, where's it going to go? Well, this is the American model. This is one of the models, and this one's been kind of consistent the last, several days, developing this into a hurricane. As far as where it goes, that's still a wait and see. It does want to take an area near Jamaica, lift it up toward Jamaica, parts of Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, as Patty, as a tropical storm, potentially. It could be a week from now, right? I'll show you that in a moment. Late into the week, into the next weekend, and then lift it up to the north as a hurricane. So, of course, if it does that, we'd be watching over toward the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. This is just one model, and I'll show you the big differences in what we're seeing. But again, I want to show you why. So here's the European model. The European model saying eventually we're going to get an area near Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, and Haiti that will develop into a tropical storm or a tropical depression, which is lower than a tropical storm, or a tropical storm. This is about a week from now, but it is now seeing that some area will try to develop near Puerto Rico. And again, this doesn't mean anything's coming at us. Once this develops, it's not going to come at all of us. I'll be able to fine tune that and show you where it's also not going to go to keep anxiety down this time of year. I don't want to just say, hey, this could hit all of us. Not in it for clicks at all. I'll show you where this is not going as we go out in time over the next few days. Now, the Canadian model has this developing into a hurricane, but what it has it doing, kind of different from the other ones, swinging a little bit more back to the west. Now, that's a big difference, right, from what the other models were showing, kind of driving this more to the northeast. But it makes sense overall that there is this big uncertainty of where eventual Patty may go, because this time of year we're dealing with the fronts that are up to the north. And I'll show you the steering conditions. The German German Icon model is very similar to the European model, showing that something near the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola will try to develop down the road tropical depression or a tropical storm. Well, why is there uncertainty at this point? Well, the first reason is it's so early. Again, I'm just starting. I've been, just kind of trying to find this system to begin with. The second thing is this time of year, we're getting deeper into fall. There are these bigger fronts that move through the U.S., right? Sometimes these fronts act as blockers for the U.S. and help to keep everything away and could kind of steer things a little bit more if they zip in. they could kind of steer things a little bit more to the northeast. But if these fronts are weaker or slower, kind of hang back here, like the Canadian model's thinking, if the front stays back here, this area could drift to the west. And these fronts keep coming, they keep coming. So timing them out is difficult, which means as Patty develops, it'll be a little bit trickier to figure out where it will go, but I'll let you know in plenty of advance notice. Now, one of the reasons there's that higher certainty that Patty will eventually form, be it right here or maybe over here, is that those water temperatures are still very warm, 30, 31 degrees Celsius in spots where this area is going to flare up, 86 to about 88 degrees Fahrenheit, and you have these hot pockets. That's the high heat content. Remember way back when, how could we forget, Hurricane Beryl, of course, the devastation in Grenada, St. Vincent the Grenadines. Beryl went right over one of these hot pockets, and that's why it really intensified. I'm not saying this is going to be a Beryl, but I want you to know that as a forecaster that it has my attention that right in this area, it's the high heat content, which means the water's not only warm, but it's warm pretty far down. That just adds to the fuel of these things, and that's why I've been talking about this for about 6, 7, 8 days now, just because of these environmental ingredients. I don't just look at the models. The environmental conditions are unfortunately conducive for some development, but the biggest concern in the short term is the flooding, right? I've been going back and forth with you in the comments. Thank you for leaving the comments. Let me know where you are, what you got going on as far as the rain is concerned. Let's go out in time here. Let's get into the middle of the week. Here's the American model, and here we go, showing that bigger buildup of rain, right? I mentioned Central America first, and then it would kind of shift its way up this way. But what a lot of the models are seeing are kind of two areas initially. That also makes it a bit trickier. This area here near Puerto Rico, another area a little bit closer just to the north of Colombia, south of Jamaica, and here come those fronts across the U.S. that will help kind of steer these things, and that's what I'll be watching as we get deeper into the upcoming week. Let's slide out in time here, and as I mentioned, this will change. This is the American model. It was showing a hurricane over here days ago. Now it's showing something over here and here. This is as we get into Friday of the upcoming week. So we're talking about 5, 6 days from now. Still showing two particular areas. So I'm not quite sure which one is going to spin up. The American model thinks this one will spin up. The European and the ICON model thinks that one will spin up. Not that either is right or wrong. There are different types of computers out there. They're computer models. They take into account different ingredients in the environment differently, so you get different output. Now, as we work our way into the upcoming weekend, you can see here the American model wants to develop that area down to the south, closer to Jamaica, Haiti, and then eventually lift it up to the north. So this would be a week from now. So we know this is going to change. I could show you this in a couple days. It could be over here. But you see here are those fronts across the U.S. If these come in kind of quickly, that'll help the U.S. and then kind of steer this up to the north. But if these fronts hang back, that could kind of shift things a little bit more back to the northwest. Wait and see. This would be over a week from now. You see the American model trying to lift something up to the north, and it all hinges the direction of this on these fronts here. But of course, of high concern if something does develop, in the Caribbean, I'm going to be able to go island by island, give you plenty of advance notice where eventual Patty may go and what that would mean as far as the rain, the winds, all that sort of thing. We'll cover that together. Now, here's the European model, and this kind of shows that second area. So here we are in Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico right here. Here's that rain building near Belize, down through Nicaragua, Costa Rica. Now, let's just zoom out in time here. This is as we get into the middle of the upcoming week. The certainty in this forecast, again, there's a lot of what ifs, I get that, but the certainty is the rain initially and then that rain sliding over toward parts of the northern Caribbean. Now, there's an area of high pressure to the north that keeps it, that's like a blocker. It keeps everything down to the south, and then on the flip side, watching these fronts moving through the U.S. So you see how kind of dynamic things are this time of year. There's so much more in the atmosphere going on to figure out as we get through the fall season. Let's go out in time now. You see one of those fronts right there. This is by the end of the upcoming week. So as we get into Friday of the upcoming week, and you see here, just like the American model was showing, watching these fronts up here, here's one area of rain and then kind of another area of rain here, but the European and the German model saying that area near Haiti, Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas, that's the one that may develop. So as we get into next weekend, you could see here that we start to get a little bit of a spin by next weekend and then the following week, and this is so far down the road. So we know, if you watch me on this channel, we know it's hard to forecast the weather 3 to 4 days out, let alone 6, 7, 8 days out. So we're keeping this in perspective together, that there'll be changes, but you can see here over a week from now, this is not tomorrow, but it's the following Monday. You see something trying to spin up either right here or kind of just somewhere right in here. And then you have these blockers to the north. You have the fronts back to the west, which will make things but by that point, let me put it out, by that point, I'll know what is going to develop, where it's going to go. So there's a lot going on. I'll worry about that behind the scenes. Don't want you to worry too far out in advance. Just an area we're keeping an eye on. But the short term, this is a worry and this is a concern. The higher rain totals. Been watching anywhere from Cancun down through Belize City, Hopkins. We've had some of the heavier rain. Watching Roatan as you get over toward the islands here on the north side of Honduras. We've had some heavy areas of rain in these white and black and even some of those red shadings showing up. That's 4 to 8 inches of rain, or 100 millimeters of rain to 200 millimeters of rain. And that's another possibility back through the Cayman Islands. So we'll continue to go island by island together as we fine tune the rain first, and then I'll be watching out for the development of Patty, but especially over toward Grand Cayman, we could get some totals the next 2 days, kind of that white and black shading in here. 4 to 6 inches of rain as we get into the upcoming week, 100 to 150 millimeters of rain. Jamaica kind of split. It's not a huge blob of rain as we work our way to Jamaica, but there'll be batches of rain like we had yesterday. So some spots could get 150 millimeters of rain or 6 inches of rain over the next 3 days, not all at once, but over the next 3 days, while others, not a whole lot. We may get brushed by some showers, 10, 25 millimeters of rain, inch of rain in spots. So it will be a big difference for us in Jamaica, and I'll be watching that. Keep me posted in the comments. So here's that rain. Let's go in the short term, which is the concern. You see all that rain, Guatemala, even El Salvador, enhanced all the way through Costa Rica, Panama, in northern Colombia. In the ABC Islands, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, I'll monitor how this rain may get close by deeper into the upcoming week. But there's that rain tomorrow. Cayman Islands watching over toward Cuba. And then as we go throughout the week, it just kind of builds up. And you see by the time we hit Tuesday, that's when some of the rain starts to build. Parts of Cuba, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, over toward Jacmel, Boston Blue. We get over toward the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. And then we work our way back through Puerto Rico and even watching near the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. So the next name on the list, and it has been a terrible season, next name on the list is Patty. And one of the things with this season is it's been such a high impact season. We've had seasons with more named storms, no doubt, but a lot of these storms have impacted land. Sometimes you have those seasons where a lot stays out to sea. Not this season, unfortunately. Now the seas are going to be building. Here's meters, here's feet on your screen, where you see these yellows starting to pop up in spots. That would be around 3 meters or upwards of about 9, even 10 feet in some locations. And this is by Wednesday. Let's just go out in time. Here's Wednesday. Things are going to get choppier. We have these fronts around, right, as we get toward the middle of the week. So the seas are going to build pretty much all over the place. And then by late in the week, we'll be watching this area that will try to develop both of these spots. So the heads up for any boating interest or anything on the water by the end of the week, regardless of which area develops, we're going to see things getting very, very rough in some of our waters, Atlantic side and parts of the Caribbean. Then we switch over here. Here's Mexico. This here is what is left of what was powerful Christy, and as expected, that did fall apart, but we have a new area to watch out there, and this one's going to track a little bit more to the west. So here's what's left of Christy, but you see this new spot right in here. Mexico, the Baja here, here's Guatemala, El Salvador. This is going to be moving away, but here's Hawaii. Now, we'll see how this evolves throughout the week. I do expect this spot, though, Christie's done with. I expect this area to gradually strengthen. So as we go out in time deeper into the week, this looks to become a tropical storm, potentially even a hurricane, and then it should get pretty close to Hawaii. It could be just to the south of Hawaii by the time we get into next weekend, and we'll see what's kind of left of it. Some of the water's not quite as warm this time of year, so just a spot to watch as we work our way back into the eastern Pacific. Now as we get to the Atlantic region of Canada and then back through Bermuda, of course, watching this area that's trying to form in the Caribbean to see how it kind of lifts to the north. In the meantime, it's been these fronts that have been zipping by that have really been kind of that season changer, that pattern changer. These fronts that kind of took the remnants of Oscar and eventually moved that away, but it's going to be front after front for the Atlantic Atlantic region of Canada, and of course these fronts clip by Bermuda, and then I'll be watching that tropical development down to the south. So the Bahamas, we're not going to have as much over toward Freeport, New Providence as far as rain is concerned, but I showed you the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, back through parts of Central America with those higher totals. But as the week goes on, especially by the time we get it, this is a 3-day total, so as we get into Tuesday, heads up, we're going to start to see things building. Haiti, the Dominican Republic, where we'll start to get some spots around 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches of rain, even over toward Puerto Rico. That is going to set the stage for some dangerous river crossings, because we're going to get more and more rain as we go throughout the week. So across Haiti and the Dominican Republic, thank you for sharing this information. We've got that flood threat that's going to build throughout the week, and then eventually Patty, which will try to develop. Not that it's coming at us in Haiti or the Dominican Republic, but it is an area to watch. So we'll see the rain will eventually be picking up through Puerto Rico. Elsewhere, Eastern Caribbean, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, we could see again, some of us 10, 25 millimeters of rain, maybe an inch of rain back through St. Lucia, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname. The rain chance not as high, a little bit more northern Venezuela, but of course watching here. Now, Costa Rica and Panama, and even Nicaragua, I've been tracking the rain on the Caribbean side. That's where we're going to see some of those higher totals. That could be around 100 millimeters of rain or 4 inches. Let me know in the comments. It's going to be a pretty big difference as far as where that heaviest rain sets up. But Mexico City to the north, we've had those drier conditions. So the rain chance stays elevated. Not all of us get it in Jamaica, but it's not a 100% chance. But the next few days, that rain chance building, watching out for the flood threat. And it's the same thing back through the Cayman Islands as the week goes on. That rain chance and flood threat only gets higher. See, the rain chance for us, Trinidad and Tobago, it's going to be going down as we get into the upcoming week. And then kind of your seasonal 30 to 40% chance in Barbados, St. Lucia, 30 to 40% chance as we get through the week ahead. Kind of bopping around in Grenada, hit or miss showers possible, scattered about St. Vincent the Grenadines the next 3 days. Rain chance 30% today in Martinique, 20% chance for tomorrow, 30 to 40% chance the next couple of days in Dominica, and we swing to the north, just an isolated chance in Guadeloupe, and that isolated chance Antigua and Barbuda. Rain chance not super high, but it does start to make a climb. St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, as we work our way into the week, we'll start to get some scattered showers. Anguilla and St. Bart's, you see by the time we get into Tuesday, about a 50% chance of some rain. St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, rain chance is low, but gradually it will be creeping up. And one spot it's going to creep up as we get into the week, Puerto Rico. I'll be watching that higher chance of rain in that eventual patty development in the Caribbean. And we'll see how that plays into our forecast. So U.S. and British Virgin Islands deeper into the week, that rain chance building. Bahamas, though, we're looking good across northern, central, and southern Bahamas. Turks and Caicos, though, all eyes will be deeper into the week. And of course, the Dominican Republic by Tuesday, the rain chance goes up. Haiti, the rain chance goes up, starting to see those river crossings becoming dangerous, especially deeper into the week. There's that rain chance in Belize today. We're looking at an 80% chance. Let me know your location, and if you have some rain or not some rain, or you have some of that flooding around Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, keeping that rain chance at a seasonal low chance over toward Curacao, but we'll see what develops in the Caribbean. Guyana, that rain chance is down. Suriname, we're generally on the dry side, and of course on the hot side. We work our way back through Costa Rica, Panama, watching out for some areas of flooding, especially Caribbean side in Nicaragua, and then I've been highlighting Honduras for some of those areas of flooding. Rain chance builds some Guatemala and El Salvador. Rain chance about 10 to 20%. That's it across Mexico City. And then you see that chance of some scattered areas of rain as we work our way back through the Yucatan Peninsula, Merida, back toward Cozumel, northern Colombia, rain chance about 40%, 30% chance the next couple days in northern Venezuela. And as we get into Bermuda, it's just kind of watching the tail ends of the fronts that could scrape us by with a few showers here and there. So the major flood threat, that continues, and it actually increases. That's going to build as a lot of the tropical moisture will drift to the east over toward Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and then eventually that area could form into Patty, which is becoming more likely. So I'll be tracking the fronts to the north to see where that may eventually go. So thank you for your patience as we continue to track this big area of rain and what could become Patty. I will do my best to keep you posted. Be safe and have a good rest of your day.